When we are first dropped into the science fiction world of Karmalink, the flawed yet fascinating feature debut from writer-director Jake Wachtel, it is in a space that is sparsely populated though still brimming with possibility. On top of immaculate red carpeting, the first shot is of a chair and several devices with snake-like chords coming out of them. A man then walks into the frame, alone, and proceeds to turn on the various devices. He moves methodically and without rush, removing his shoes before placing electrodes on his head. He then begins narrating about karma before we are transported back through time to a man that is attempting to steal a small golden statue of Buddha. Before he can make off with his spoils, the man is confronted by someone who says that he recognizes him. Panicked, this thief out of time takes off running before burying the statue out in a field. The film then cuts to Ling Hang Krak, a 13-year-old kid living in the not-too-distant future of Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Even with new technology from drones to augmentations to our very brains, his family is facing eviction from the neighborhood that they have lived in for 3 generations. Collider video of the day. This is all the beginning of a film that frames the power of technology and the divine connections we have in a similar light. Visions of alternate spiritual planes are interwoven with more familiar science fiction elements, making the point where one ends and the other begins hard to identify. You see, each night, Ling Hang finds himself dreaming of his past lives. That man stealing the statue? That is just one of many memories we'll see our young protagonist grapple with over the course of the film. With the knowledge he gains, he enlists his group of friends and the scrappy newcomer Snakelike to help him track down the statue. They hope they can use it to prevent the looming eviction from happening. This all plays out with a playful yet somber sensibility as we see these precocious kids do their best to save themselves and those they love from being displaced. However, where things really get interesting is when it shifts into its final act, where more details are revealed about why it is that Ling Hang is having these visions. It is in this conclusion that Karmalink is able to strike thematic gold of its own, even as it requires a leap of faith from the audience to stay with it. Without giving anything away too much, the initial adventure the kids went on, while plenty of good fun with its own deeper ideas, then becomes a different type of journey where the film really takes flight. The exploration the story went on into the unknown starts to turn inward to look at all that we don't know about ourselves. Discussions of enlightenment and reincarnation abound, leaving us reflecting on how it could connect with the film's speculative imagination of what neuroscience can uncover. As much as it looks outward into time and space with all the majesty to be found there, it is also preoccupied with the way it impacts our very souls. Whereas many science fiction films create firm divisions between itself and the spiritual, Karmalink dives headfirst into what they have in common. In an evocative finale full of surreal sequences that make the most of its budget, it ends up showing how the way we use technology may actually open up our lives and sense of self to the vastness of the universe. It invokes aspects of Buddhism just as it wrestles with its science fiction premise, melding the two in an intriguing albeit messy fashion that becomes increasingly arresting. This turns the film into a work of speculative fiction that pushes the boundaries of the genre through the journey of the child at its center. What if we could use technology to tap into his past? Is this forbidden knowledge that would only corrupt him, or would it provide greater clarity about his lives? The film doesn't always provide straightforward answers, though it more than asks the right questions that challenge our perceptions. Too often, many science fiction films with all its various hardware and gadgets can become coldly logical to the point of being detached. You push a button that gives a command and you get a result. However, it is what this technology represents about us that is just as intriguing and what Wachtel seems most interested in interrogating. Why do we push the button, and what does it reveal about ourselves in what we discover? The spectacular technology of this science fiction story takes on an almost sacred significance in Karmalink. In the world of the film, it has the power to forever transform those who use it. It gives them a glimpse of a state of being that feels like a technological nirvana of its own creation that taps into something intangible and incorporeal. This takes the form of a series of experiments in the room we were first introduced to at the beginning of the film. It uses technology as a bridge from the physical world to a spiritual one, something it refers to as the realm of the infinite, which characters prepare to enter into through silent prayer. There is an incomplete nature to how it brings this vast world to life, mostly due to it being an echo of the same locations and shots that is far from infinite, though there is still something to admire in the way it swings for the fences. While it doesn't always connect, it demonstrates the potential for films to grapple with the spiritual and its ties to science fiction. It shows how both bring the potential for the profound and the perilous if meddled with. It engages with the many things we don't fully understand and can only hope to ride the waves of. By the time it reaches its explosive conclusion, one almost wishes that this has been the focus of the entire film and it didn't feel obligated to keep grounding us back in our own plane of existence. While this limits the potential of the journey it takes us on, the ideas it gestures at offer something worthwhile to reflect on even as they aren't fully realized.